The purpose of this video is to ensure there is a clear and consistent understanding of the way in which the WA State Basketball League is to be officiated in 2016 to meet our key objectives. The State Basketball League wants to create a brand of basketball which ensures club viability through providing an entertaining product, ensure a high level of player, coach and referee development, and act as WA's elite basketball competition. Our three objectives are development, entertainment and offering an elite competition. The key points of emphasis for 2016 will focus on the following 11 basic areas: protecting the ball carriers, refereeing both offence and defence, offensive staging, refereeing the block charge, screens and off the ball contact, flopping, post play, game management, game behaviour, unsportsmanlike fouls and communication. It is essential all SBL and D-League officials, coaches and players familiarise themselves with these points of emphasis to ensure there is a clear understanding of the expectations in 2016. Protecting the ball carriers. The ball carrier must be allowed to bring the ball up the court without being manhandled. Fouls must be called for two hands on the ball carrier. Fouls must be called for defenders who place one hand on the ball carrier and don't remove it. Body checking, bumping or players using their knees to move a ball carrier off their line must be called a foul. Here, the defender places his hand on the ball carrier's hip as he is out of position and the correct foul was called. Refereeing both the offence and defence. The offence is not to be rewarded when they have initiated the contact. In respect to verticality, defence in a good vertical position should not be penalised if the offence initiates the contact. Offensive players that need to develop footwork and intentionally push a defender to create space will be called a foul. The defence must be penalised for holding or impeding players off the ball. To complement this, the offence must be penalised for pushing to create space. Offensive staging. Referees are not to reward offensive staging. They are to ignore players who act to sell the foul, and they should not bail out offence when the good defence is applied, particularly in traffic. These types of actions should be ignored by the referee. Refereeing the block charge. Referees are instructed to anticipate the play but not the call. Observe the point of contact. If it's down the middle and there is enough contact, call a charge. Ask the question, who caused the contact? Remember the 3 Fs. Determine if the defender has feet on the floor, is facing the opponent and is in position first. Here, the defensive player has their feet on the floor, is facing the opponent, is in position first. We would expect this to be called a charge. Screens and off the ball contact. Legal screening is when a player who is screening an opponent was stationary inside his cylinder and had both feet on the floor when contact occurs. Illegal screening is when a player who is screening an opponent was moving when contact occurred, did not give sufficient distance in setting a screen outside the field of vision of a stationary opponent when contact occurred, did not respect the element of time and distance of an opponent in motion when contact occurred. Here, the player setting the screen is stationary inside his cylinder, his feet are on the floor. This would be considered a legal screen.
He's off. That's an illegal screen.
Here, the player setting the screen is moving outside of his cylinder. This would be considered an illegal screen. Flopping. If a player has obviously flopped, stop the game at the next opportunity and inform the coach of a team warning. Any further flops by the same team after the coach warning must be penalised with a technical foul to that player. Ensure only obvious flops are being adjudicated as flopping and ignore the players selling the foul. Here we see an obvious flop and we would expect this to be a team warning issued.
referee. This is not mine. This is me proving that we should have technical fouls for flopping.
On this occasion, there is contact and it is not an obvious flop, as there is enough doubt we would expect the referee to call play on. Post-play. Players are not permitted to use their body to displace an opponent and create space for their teammates. Poor defensive technique to displace an opponent, such as arm fend-offs, stepping under, up and under, two hands on, grappling, are illegal moves and should be called a foul. One non-extended armbar to the back or side continues to be legal. Game management. Referees are to maintain control of the game while remaining humble and approachable. Control is maintained by making the necessary calls in the game. Officials ignoring poor and persistent questioning behaviour is not considered to constitute sufficient game management. Officials are instructed to be consistent in application of judgment and manage situations early. Game behaviour. Referees are instructed to not allow unacceptable behaviour from players or coaches. Public warnings to coaches and players are expected for unacceptable behaviour or inappropriate reaction to calls. Audible profanity that can be heard by observers around the court needs to be called as an automatic. Players and coaches who show dissent to the referees should expect a public warning. Unsportsmanlike fouls. An unsportsmanlike foul should be called for an illegal attempt to directly play the ball within the spirit of the rules. Unsportsmanlike fouls are non-basketball actions, including failure to play the ball, excessive hard contact caused by a player in an effort to play the ball, breakaways, and fouls committed in the last 2 minutes of the game in any extra period by a defensive player when the ball is not yet passed into the court. Here we see a clear, unsportsmanlike foul and the correct call was made. Communication. In regards to communication, officials are instructed to take the 3-step approach. Step 1, listen, acknowledge and respect. At the appropriate time, allow the coach or captain to ask a question or have a polite word. Give the coach the respect, acknowledging you have heard their comments, and referees are encouraged to only respond to questions, not statements. Step 2, offer a stern but controlled formal warning. Continual questioning and complaining is not acceptable. At an appropriate time, preferably in a stoppage of play, make a public formal warning with visual stop signal or similar to ensure that all participants are aware of the warning. Step 3, act. If a coach continues, there is no option but to administer a technical foul. Officiating is not an easy task. The players are athletic and the pace of the game is intense. The perfect expectations of referees are extremely high and it is difficult to control or even see everything that happens on the court. Our officials' greatest virtue is consistency, and that is what we'll be striving for in the coming season.